Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Maybe I can say it one more time. Welcome. I'm Renata, your host of Awesome Awakenings, where we learn to integrate love into our lives 24/7, 365, and I'm so excited I can hardly hold myself. My guest today is the esteemed Miss Donna Sebo. Hi, Donna.
Oh, hello. It's so nice to be with you today. Thank
Yes, you're welcome. Oh, I have known Donna for a little while since I've lived here in Lakewood, but we've never had a chance to have this kind of conversation.
No, but isn't it exciting? Look at what we have to offer people. This is marvelous, and I'm so excited for you. Oh, my goodness. I am so excited for you.
Through the years, I mean, you knew me when I owned my store, and you were a
Yes.
customer of mine. You and your
Yes.
husband, Al Freeman, and you. I just
Yes.
love all of you.
Yes.
And we've all grown, haven't we?
You know, it's really amazing the changes, how quickly they happen. We have so much that is changing. You look at today,
Yes.
just today, we have so much that's going on that it really, in a way, is very, very challenging because we have to open ourselves up to a whole new way of thinking sometimes, and we have to look at what it is that we need to change, the adaptations that we need to do. But when you think about our modus of operandi and communicating, you know, I have shows that go around the world. You have a show now that can be heard by anybody because you're utilizing technology. It's exciting. We have a voice.
It's exciting to have a voice, but it's also really interesting not to get overwhelmed by the voice of progress, the voice of moving forward, and you leave yourself behind. Because choosing love is all about bringing you along with yourself as you evolve. Yes.
Yes, but I'll tell you what, Renata, life has a tendency to give you a good swift kick in the seat of the pants if you don't pay attention to what's going on.
A good swift kick.
Yes.
In the
I've
seat
had
of the
so many experiences in my life where I thought everything was perfect and hunky-dory, and then all of a sudden somebody somewhere in the universe said, you know, she's just too comfortable right now. We need to take care of this lady. And then slam bam, thank you, ma'am. And here I go.
But so universally for all of us humans now, that's kind of something that's going on. I mean, I would say a big swift pay attention now.
Yes.
Pay attention.
And it's change.
Yes.
It is change.
Tremendous change.
Yes, and when you study history, you find that the greatest innovations, the greatest move forwards are done under the stress of how are you going to think, what are you going to do, how are you going to determine right avenues, and we may fall flat on our face and just cry and just say, I don't know what to do, and then there seems to be that magic moment. Magic moment where we get our ahas.
In fact, on the way, and the other day we were talking, and you had some interesting stories about people reconnecting from that sense of separation. Something happens on the outside, and I think it was a situation in World War II, someone that you said that you knew.
There's
so many stories, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure. You know, there always are, but what I find is that there has been a shift. Of course, you and I are Gabby Gertz, right? We always are going to have something to talk about, and there's always something to share with someone. And we really believe very strongly in empowering other people.
Empowering self first, though.
Well, I agree with that.
You got to empower self first.
How are you going to empower somebody else if you don't do it for yourself
If you don't know
first?
what it looks like.
That's right.
If
You're not going to know what to do.
Absolutely.
You're not going to know what to do.
I call that one of those daily essentials now, Miss Donna. You know, while you take that breath, we were talking about that on the way, how nice it is to have this extra time, that extra hour of sleep if you need it.
Absolutely. This, though, I think, with what we've been going through, it has caused people to really examine what it is that they value in life. And you know what? There's a couple of sides to it. You have a side where maybe you've been so busy that you've been putting stuff under the rug.
Yes.
You've been ignoring
Yes.
things. It's like,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry, but I've got an appointment here.
Yes.
I'm just so
Yes.
sorry, but I just can't spend the time with you.
Plate spinner.
Yes.
Got lots of
So-
plate spinning.
We have that. And then we have the other side where we need to have the quiet for introspection. Again, the plate spinner. We've got so much going on. And there's another side, and that is the disconnect.
Yes.
We get involved with the social media with very different things, and before we know it, our days are gone, and we'll say, oh, I wish I had talked to Aunt Susie, or I wish I had talked to my neighbor. And you know what? I think people have found that they can open up to communications, and the conversations are terrific.
I've talked more with my neighbors and people in my neighborhood, a couple doors to the left or the right, than I have, and I've lived there for 16 years.
Oh, yeah. And you know what I love? Well, I have neighbors, they have little ones, children.
Oh, yes.
And their ages are, or the two children I'm thinking of are 3 to 8, okay? So you have them, and it's wonderful when the children say, hey, can you open your gate so I can come over and talk to you?
Isn't that cool?
That is absolutely
And you're like, well,
fabulous.
well, sure. Let
Yeah.
me just open that gate
It's
for you.
it's wonderful. But I think the story, and I brought the letter.
Okay.
I brought the letter from my friend who lives in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
That's the woman. That's the one. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
her
'Cause
name
it was
is
a fascinating story.
Yes. Now, Anne and I have known each other for a number of years, and Anne is an artist. And she and her husband were clients of mine for a number of years. And then they ended up taking care of a ranch in Texas, it's just, they had an adventurous life. They lived in an RV, that was their traveling home. They traveled all over the country. It was just wonderful to know them. And Anne and I would communicate.
Very good.
Now, she would write letters, and then I would write letters back.
Oh, wait.
And-
So I have to interrupt. So writing letters.
Writing letters.
With a stamp.
Yes.
And then
Snail mail.
Snail mail.
Snail mail.
Like, I should touch this writing.
Yes.
Just kidding. Okay, you read this.
but
You got the
it-
setup.
Yeah. So Anne sent me this letter, and it was on May the 4th, and she said, Dear Donna, I was so delighted to get the newsletter this month in particular, and I do a monthly newsletter.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Yes.
We'll talk about it. So it lets me know you're still okay. It's a worry to wonder about friends and family. I've been most fortunate to know only a few friends who have had the virus and are now on the mend. Now, my dear friend Anne, she is in her 80s.
Okay, Anne.
And she said, I often write to friends and family and share with them the problems we had way back during the World War II. I hope I do not bore you with a repeat if I am. I do recall how the country, as I remembered it as a child, got together and everything was done for the war effort. I do see a lot of that now, and it's such a blessing. My own family members, daughter, great-granddaughter, and sister managed to sew up a great many face masks. At first, they went to the hospital and a woman's shelter. Then the great-granddaughter set up her lemonade stand to give them away to neighbors. A lemonade stand, no less.
I know.
At Walmart, when I was shopping with my daughter, she was giving out masks to any takers, refusing any money, just a gift. As Walmart did not have any masks, several people were quite happy with them. I was so proud of her. I do hear of others who try to do something for others. We had 2 neighbor ladies who rushed over to us when a strong wind blew over our trash can, very large, and helped pick up the trash. I know also that when they ordered some meals to come in, they had one sent over to a neighbor lady across the street who lives alone. As in World War II, people do come up with ways to help others. Anyway, just thought to write this quick note, knowing how busy you are, just hoping you and yours stay safe and well. Sincerely, Anne.
Sincerely, Anne at 88. She typed it on her computer, though, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
I
she
did.
she typed it on her computer. So there's this integrative process, big time going on. And the opportunity, like you said, just to pull and find the smallest way to respond to your neighbor is super important. That love vibe. That love vibe.
The communication aspect with people is so important. We need this. We all need it. And
It doesn't have to be a huge, though.
No,
like you
no,
said, the
no.
mask. It's like, well, maybe you already had a mask. But you were saying it's like it's just that form of her being able to give and share That's so important.
And her great-granddaughter, a lemonade stand.
A lemonade stand.
Now, can you imagine a kid putting up a lemonade stand and saying, free masks? You got some lemonade too? So
Got to make you smile.
Yeah, I mean, this is wonderful, but it shows, and I've heard so many stories like this, and I've talked about them on my programming. You have so many stories of people that are doing nice things for other people, and sadly, we're not giving enough attention to that.
Yes, and there is something on our planet that says it has to be a really big, noticeable, heroic act, but not now.
No,
Not now.
you know me, Renata. I
Not
love to
now.
bake.
Oh,
okay?
I know. I've had
I
some
love
of
to-
your bread.
Yes, and I break. I do all kinds of stuff. And one of the fun things that I have found for years, and this is just I learned this years ago, if you want to make a connection with someone using food,
Yes.
and especially bakery goods, I haven't found anybody that doesn't have a sweet tooth.
Mm-hmm. Or a bread tooth. A bread and butter tooth. I grew up hypoglycemic, so the sugar thing was not so much what I could do. You know,
Oh, but
what I'm
you know,
saying.
it's all about extension and conversation.
Well, extension and receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It is,
They-
and
yeah, both
there-
sides of that.
Yes, and I have found that, contrary to some of the comments that I've heard posted, in different places, I have had so much that I have seen of courtesy,
Yes.
people respecting other people's space,
Yes.
honoring them in one way or another, being willing to be helpful.
Yes.
What better example can we give to the younger generation than demonstrating what we want to have in our lives?
Absolutely. And that's the whole point of being here now is really to just pay it forward. And what are you paying it forward with? Your presence, your attention to you.
Absolutely.
That's what you're paying it forward with.
And
Your light.
Yes, and it is by example.
Yes, it is living by example.
It is by example. So when you go through life and you are working with other people, how is it you're presenting yourself? What is it that you're saying? Are you walking around with a long face and, oh, this is so miserable? What are you going to do? Instead, turn things around. It makes a big difference.
It does. I always say create a new life story if you don't like the one you're in.
Absolutely.
And it's
one of the
shift.
best resources, I think, is get yourself around kids between the age of 3 and 8.
Oh, okay.
They'll give you a reality check.
Well, they'll give you a reality check. That's true. 3 and 8. 3 and 8. By 3 and 8's good.
Yeah.
3 and 8's are good with me.
Yeah.
I can get down on the floor with them.
Oh, so do I.
You know?
So it's, it's a matter of finding out what they like, or even just saying, what do you think about this? And you'd be amazed. They have their opinions.
Oh, little kids have amazing opinions if they haven't been too tainted by how they think they should be, which is kind of the challenge.
But by golly, you ask them their opinion. What do they like? I like this a little bit. Okay. What else do you like? What don't you like? But getting them to think.
They have a level of honesty.
Oh, big time. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And sometimes we don't always appreciate that honesty.
No, we don't. And this has nothing to do with anything except for I have an acronym for the word hug. Hope,
Yes.
understanding, and gratitude. And then S would
Great.
be for the sweetness. Isn't that good? My George called me on his way to the shop the other day, left me a message. I called him back. What was it, honey? I just heard this on the news. I know you would appreciate this. On the talk radio station he was listening to. Hugs. Isn't that good?
I think that's fabulous.
Hope,
Yes.
understanding, and gratitude.
I think that goes a long way. And you know what? If you get up in the morning and you're just sort of feeling down, put out the hug.
Put out the hug. In fact, the energetic hug works good too, huh?
Yes. And hug yourself.
And hug yourself. Hug yourself.
That's right.
I can give you a hug.
Headsets and all.
Headsets. And don't forget to laugh. I mean, we can't take ourselves so seriously.
Oh, I agree.
We would implode.
Well, if you're really honest, when you look at yourself first thing in the morning, if that doesn't make you laugh, I don't know what will.
Yes.
I mean, let's let's get real, folks. I mean, really.
Yeah, we do have to do a little something before we walk out the door.
Oh, yes. Just a tad.
Just a tad. I'm loving this cherry red
Isn't
color
this
on
wonderful?
you. Red has such a strong, loving vibration.
Well, it's one of my favorites.
Looks excellent with your hair. It just really
Yes.
makes your eyes pop.
Yeah, I really like red. But you know what? I've got to tell you a story about this.
I love it.
This.
You know I love my clothes.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you and I both. I mean, what do you?
I save everything.
Yeah, oh, yes, yes. Now this, and this is just share with people. So many times when you're in economic difficult times, you're
Yes.
always looking at how you can be attractive and be on that budget.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Beauty on a budget.
Beauty on a budget, and I'm very familiar with that. So
know.
what I wanted to say is I was at the women's show at the Tacoma Dome. No, this was in Seattle before they
Okay.
moved to the Tacoma Dome,
Okay.
because now it's at the Tacoma Dome. But in Seattle, and there was this lady that had a booth there, and she had vintage clothing.
Okay.
And she had this item,
All right.
and this is silk,
Mm-hmm.
and it is obviously of Asian design, and this is all hand embroidery.
That's cool.
And the whole thing was embroidered, and I fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm short, so it wouldn't, the
Yeah, it
length
wasn't
of
working for you right. Like,
No. And most Asian ladies are small. I'm bigger in the bust. And if any of you ladies out there watching this program say, oh, please, I have such a problem when I go shopping, find someone who's a good tailor.
Absolutely.
Because what we did, we put in inserts on the side that nobody notices.
No, it's quite stunning.
And then it fits me.
Looks excellent on you. I love it.
And so it's something that I have enjoyed. And that is something that a lot of people are surprised when they find out what I've done with something I've found. And I have a wonderful lady whose name is Shirley. And she does alterations for me. And when you're on a budget, there are places where you can go where you can find something that really is your style, that looks good, and then find somebody that can tailor it for you. You can have a wonderful wardrobe that is your style, that fits well.
Well, in this time of diversity, I must say that nothing's off limits. And if it's your money, your body, it really is your job to kind of figure out what works for you. I'm really into that. And I support
Yes.
just redoing things and wearing them in different ways and different combinations.
Oh, I think it's wonderful.
You know, this is a Roberto Cavalli, which is a designer jacket. Very nice. It's got
It's
the
so
monogram
nice.
on it. Isn't that great? I love it with my little, and $7 at the Goodwill.
There you go.
I know.
And
But you
it's
have
with-
to know what you're looking for.
Yes.
You've got to recognize quality. I bring my George with me shopping. He runs his hands along and just pops stuff up for me.
Yes, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But see, that's so important. That is one of the things that we need to be aware of. You can look attractive. You can look very handsome as a male. You can really look the way you want to look and be put together. And you might be able to put together an outfit for $10.
Oh, I got you beat. I can do 5.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Oh,
just
yes.
saying, though, you're right. This idea of paying attention and really looking to see how you present yourself, not that you have to have the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we're saying. But the idea that you have value and you want to wrap it up so people can see it.
Yes.
And sometimes because we want to be like a little in the background, we tend to downplay our value. We tend to downplay our value. And so, what comes across is, it doesn't matter. It's not that important. You and the love that you broadcast in every breath is the most important commodity on this planet at this time. Everybody needs it.
Absolutely true. And not only that, but I would like to address something relative to what we've been discussing.
Please.
And that is for both men and women. When you go out and you're looking for a job, there are so many people that are out of work right now because of the lockdown situation. We've got 33 million plus people, no jobs.
Ripple effect.
That's it.
Ripple effect.
A lot of people, many businesses maybe are not going to be around. They're gone. So you're going to
True.
have to go out and you're going to have to do a job application. You're going to need to present yourself. And being attractively, handsomely dressed, you don't need to imitate anything in Vogue magazine. Just presenting a good image of yourself is huge.
So, I'm going to do a little plug because I do something called personalized styling, and personalized styling is exactly that.
Absolutely true.
People are always complimenting me on how nice I look and blah, 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 blah,
Yes.
blah. Right, it's because I feel comfortable in what I present for me. It's just
Yes.
all about Renata. It has nothing to do with anybody else.
Right.
And I'm quite skilled at it because I have lots of years in retail and modeling and that. However, everybody has highlights. Everybody has beauty, inside and outside. And really, it's your attitude that moves out before you. And that's what we're talking about, being aware of that presenting, that presentation. That's in
Yes.
total control of you.
I think
I would
that's-
agree with you. It's a very important
yes.
issue now because we're regrounding and moving ahead to a whole new way of doing this planet.
And that one-on-one, maybe you are commuting, or having your conversations via the computer.
Yes.
And maybe you're sitting at home and, guys, you're in a t-shirt and jeans, and gals, you may be in your bunny slippers and your nightgown, and you don't care. You must change your attitude, because when you are presenting yourself in a business environment, how you present yourself really makes a difference. And you've addressed some very important points in that it is the energy that you're putting out. But it really does make a difference. So many people, maybe they haven't had to look for a job for a long time, and they go, gee, what should I do? Remember, keep it clean, have your clothes fit you so you don't look like something that was just dumped off of a truck. And I'll cite an example. There was, and there have been, other experiments
Oh, I'm sure.
where they have sent out young people, good-looking young people on jobs, and they sort of dressed them down, put them in jeans and a shirt, and they went in and they were doing job applications. They got, thank you very much for coming. They took those same two young people, one gal, one guy, and they then put the guy in a suit, a tie, a shirt, and depending on what kind of job, they were looking for, because some environments are more casual, but still, the guys, their pants were pressed, their shoes, they polished them, and their clothes fit them. The gal, very simple outfits. If she had slacks, that's great. She might have something that would be a coordinated outfit or a dress. Jewelry minimal, just putting them out. They got jobs and nothing flat.
See, now there's something in certain communities that because you've got that love vibe going, you think you don't have to, you're like, I'm above that, I don't have to dress, they'll get me. Yeah, you may be right. You may be that 1%, that they get. True story. I'm not going to say I'm one of those people, but then I do dress, see? But maybe I overdress. Possible that could work against me. Do I care? No. Our point is you want to harmonize the best of what you have. You know what it feels like and looks like when you feel in harmony. Don't go out looking to create abundance in your life if you feel less than. And just check yourself regularly. Don't wait to the last minute on your interview and realize nothing's clean, whole, button missing on the shirt, shoes are creeled over, nylons have a run them if you're wearing nylons. I mean, we have so much flexibility now. Women can wear pantsuit, pants, nice shirt. Men now can even wear skirts if you're in Scotland or you're in that trend, and maybe the job you're going for is in a head shop, so that would be appropriate. But you still need to have those tools to pull out of your bag of tools. This is about integration. Don't forget the wisdom that you're bringing with you. Don't drop it at the door.
True.
Take the good stuff. Take the good stuff. Wrap it up a little bit differently, and you'll find that you'll have a lot more flexibility. Yeah, that source force that moves through us allows more energy to come through us, right? Source force, go open doors, grace on demand. You get me. That energy moves through us. It resides inside of us. You open that, it starts to work for you. And you get to use the tools Dressing is a tool. It's just a
That's
tool.
true.
Don't dress when you're making breakfast and hanging out with your guy. That's not necessary. But it's all in context. You're going out for a job, you want to put your best foot forward. Then you'll get to prove
Absolutely.
yourself. Most places have a 30-day probation. You're out the door if you don't live up to your look. So your look may get you in the door and get people's attention, but you still got to have the heart. You still have to ground it.
It's
not airy-fairy. Same
really
principles
makes a
of
difference.
business. But it's not business as usual. No, the old ways, not so much. We get to make it up a little bit new. We get to bring ourselves into the mix. We get to bring ourselves into the mix. You get to show your personality.
I really think just as when you're working with a book
Yes.
or you're working with a product line, you might want to say, what's your brand? How do you want people to see you? How do you want them to perceive you?
And to remember you. I mean, it's a remembering. It's not always about how somebody else looks at you so much. Is how do you see yourself? And what do you want to share with people? This is a sharing. This is your light. Honor it. This is your temple. This is what we got going on. Let's wake up and use it. And you just went into a territory that I wanted to give you time to talk about, so let's do that now because you mentioned books. And Donna is a published author of many things. I have her card, and I didn't even read it on the opening. It's like, I just thought we'd just start going.
Yes.
But let's talk about the author part. Do you want to share
Okay.
some of your...
Yes, I am an award-winning children's author, and also I have a cassette set, not a cassette set, a CD set. I have to catch up because it came
You're
out
good. You're good.
originally as a cassette set. But anyway, it's called Mind Magic, and that's on development of intuitive skills and also on personal accomplishment. And then the children's books, I've had 3 out. We're going to start working on number 4. There's God's Kiss, which is a story about a little boy and his dream journey where he goes to a valley with children and animals from all over the world. And they have a magical experience that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives. Then there's the Magic Hat, and that is all about healing. It's about a little girl, Julie, who's in a very bad accident, and a nurse, Annie, who is enabling Julie to realize that she has something to live for. And so it's a story within a story, and it's got a surprising end to it. And then The Woodcutter in the Tree is about the environment. And this takes place in medieval England. And it takes place in a time when wealthy royal positions were able to walk into a place, a village, let's say, and say, I want this or I want that. And it's about the resourcefulness of people, the communication with animals and nature itself, and how people make a difference. They make a difference. And the choices you make and being aware that you have choices. So many times we don't even know that we have those choices. So each one of these stories stands on their own. And I also do an international talk show. I actually do 6 shows a week. Renata's very much aware of that.
I know. And when I invited you to be on the show, we were talking, and I said, well, I'm just getting ready for the one show that I do once a week. You do 6 shows. Like, dang, how do you do that? Yeah, I was like, wow, okay.
Yes, I interview over 300 authors a year. And I tallied it up, and in the 19 years I've been doing this, I've interviewed over 10,000 people.
Well, this is a drum roll time. We're getting a drum roll. We're getting a drum roll. Woo, drum roll. And then we have to toast. Toast for water.
Toast. Okay, my dear, thank you very
Toast.
much. There
There
we
you go.
go.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
Wow, that's amazing.
10,000 people. And you know, every one of those individuals that I interviewed, every single one of them give a gift. They give a gift because they write down what their stories are. And then in conversation with me, we find out so much about various things, whether it's history or medicine, education, the metaphysical area, the paranormal, science fiction. I've even talked to a woman who was a full-time mechanic and owned 6 places down in Miami.
That's always amazing when people would come in my store and I just get conversations going with them.
Oh, isn't it wonderful?
And it's so amazing. Like, you do what? You drive a truck? Really? You drive a long haul truck? Really? You love it? But that's that whole, we're beginning
Yes.
that opportunity to really communicate and connect again.
It's fabulous. And the great gift it's given to me is that it has shown me, number one, instead of focusing on the schmucks in life, of which
True.
we've got enough of them to keep us
We do.
unhappy if we buy into it. But
do.
when I think of the thousands that I have interviewed that have walked journeys of life that I wouldn't wish on anyone, and I'm talking about people from around the world.
No, deep. I got chills on that one.
This is something
Yeah.
that, I mean, what I have heard, the stories that have been shared, some of them are so dark and so ugly, and I go, my Lord, but yet those people turned things around. And they're not afraid to speak their truth. They're not afraid to say, this is where I was,
Yes.
and this, I'm not proud of it, but I want you to know this is what happened to me. And if you can avoid that darkness, that dark road, let me show you what I did. And if that can help you, that's what this book is about. And I think shows like yours and mine, what we're wanting to do is empower people.
Totally. And you don't always have to repeat the exact footsteps to get the lesson. I mean, that's the
true.
value of the communication and the sharing of the wisdom and being in the presence of people that had their lights turned on. It turns your light on too.
And everybody has a light. And
Everybody.
Yes, and sometimes we get so focused, and I've known people just recently because of the conditions we're in. It's like they've got blinders on, and they're like this, and that's all they can see. And they're so focused, they're watching television, they're listening to every political commentary. They get agitated, they get mad,
agitated.
and they're like this.
They're like wild and crazy. They're crazy.
I was talking with someone just the other day like that, and I said, you know what? Let's take a different twist here. Let's look at something differently. And all of a sudden, their eyes opened up. I said, why, with all that you've got on your life, going on in your life, why are you just looking at this? Well, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said, no, wait a minute. Let's take what you've got and reframe it, and let's put it in this. They go, oh. But that's part of what I do. That's part of what you do.
Don't claim it, reframe it.
That's right.
And when you allow that source force to light inside of you and bring those things to you, that bends realities.
It does. It creates a shift that enables you to claim what I would say is your own awareness, your own power. And that is so important. We need to remember that. And I emphasize that, I know, in my show. Remember, you're the master of your fate. You're the captain of your soul. I end my show with that every single day that I do it because I really believe in it. We're all going to have our funky moments. We're all going to have the times, we're going to just go, oh, geez.
But it's not what happens to you.
It's what you do with it.
It's what you do with it. It's what happens through you. That's where you have the power.
Oh, and that's
not.
important.
We're not a victim.
That's
There's no victimization here. There's always choices.
Yes. And
Regardless of the form, there's always choices of how you, if it was reactionary, then that would be, it's called respondability. You use your ability to respond as a divine being, as a master of your fate and your temple.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once you recognize that, nobody can ever take that away from you.
Ever. It's
Period.
impossible.
That's right.
Because
They
once
cannot.
it wakes up, once you know it, like the light's on, the light's on.
That's it.
The light's on. And regardless of the extraneous pressure that's being placed upon us from time to time, you can trump that, get your magic wand out, boom, change the
That's
story, turn the page, write a new chapter, call somebody else. But don't go talking about it and don't join a club about it, because that's like more resistance creates more resistance.
Oh,
it's
yes.
a fine-tuning with that for a lot of us now.
Well, the pity pot, it's a good thing when you notice that your pity pot has a crack in it, you throw it out.
You throw it out because it starts to stink a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not the good container that it used to be. This is a lifetime of equanimity for all of us.
Yes.
For ourselves first, self-love, self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've done some stuff that has gotten us into this place where we all need a wake-up call in mass. What are you going to choose? That's the choosing.
I think it's marvelous. And one of the things I am a big advocate of, and that is reading. You need to be able to bring into your environment different subjects, different items. Open your world. Look at your world as something that is unlimited. It's absolutely
Unlimited
amazing.
potential. That's true.
It is, and that's one of the gifts that my guests give me, is that awareness of tremendous opportunity that we have. So we are going through what would be looked at as a pretty unpleasant situation here because we're in lockdown and quarantine. But I got news for you. The only thing that really needs to be locked down is maybe you're being thoughtful about where you go and what you do, dependent on your physical, wellness, etc. But that doesn't mean you lock down your mind. It doesn't mean you lock down your learning. It doesn't mean you lock down your planning.
Your imagination, your ability to energetically connect with people and
that's right.
Put your vision out there.
And talk to even strangers, believe it or not.
I love talking to strangers, especially I was like in the grocery store getting some stuff, and I said, "Oh, thank you," and her name was Stephanie, and she looked at me. Then she's like, "Oh, I have my name tag on. I know it." I said, "It stumps people all the time because you forget, don't you?" And she was like, "Oh, yeah, hi."
It's so much fun.
Isn't it fun?
It is. And you never know. I don't know why. Often when I start talking to people, before I know it, they're telling me their life story. And as I look at it, I go, that's trust. That is trust. When people feel comfortable enough with you to be able to share their story. And that is something that needs to be cherished. And
everybody's story is sacred. Oh,
it is. It is.
Everybody's story is sacred and special. But then there's a point when you just have to take that story and put it someplace in your heart where you want to store it and then make some new stories. This is about making some new stories.
Oh, my goodness.
Some new novels, novellas, We could do some made-for-movie stuff here, made-for-TV movies maybe.
Let me tell you, there's something that came up, and this was with one of my guests, and it was it was about a woman by the name of Lucille.
Ooh.
Lucille, on her 100th birthday, the news media in her community found out about her turning 100.
Dang.
Well, this lady who was the reporter, and I'll call her Mary was going to do the report on this woman, and she's walking up to her house, and she's to Lucille's home, and she's thinking to herself, oh my God, she's 100 years old. I wonder if she's going to stink. So
okay, we had experiences in nursing homes and that. Oh, yeah, okay.
What kind of image do you have of someone that's 100 years old?
I got you.
Well, when Lucille opened the door, she says, hello, Mary. And she said, standing in front of me, you would never have known this woman was 100 years old. She was dressed to the nines. Her hair was beautifully done. Her nails were done. She had her makeup on. And she said, come on in, sweetie. We've got to talk. And she was amazing. And Mary became very good friends with her. This woman lived to be 104.
Isn't that amazing?
And every time, and Mary was in her 40s. She said this woman just totally threw all of her preconceptions about what an older person should be.
Isn't that...
Lucille. Life, and Lucille.
Life, and Lucille. And that's the value we have in sharing with each other.
Oh, yes.
You get the collective wisdom, and then you don't have to go out and dig the shovel in the dirt all the time. You can just kind of stand by the side and go, I want some of that.
Well, it was such an inspiration to Mary.
Yes.
She said, wow, this woman is a demonstration of what I can look forward to. And all of her preconceptions were totally evaporated.
Evaporated. That's when you see somebody else's truth and go, that kind of feels like me. That's right. Called resonance. That's why it works that way. That's why you got to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be out there in the world. And you don't always have to step outside of your door,
That's right.
you know?
But she greeted every single day, even when she was 104, until her health started going bad. She passed away just a few days prior, I think it was, to her 104th birthday. Can you imagine what that woman had seen?
Well, I think just 104, you get that energy of 5, which is transmutation. So lots of changes in her life.
Oh, my goodness.
That's pretty
Yes.
cool. She
I think
sounds
so.
like someone that came into this lifetime to run her software full speed. You
Yes.
know? Run
Yes.
her software for maximum effect. That's what we're being called to do right now. That's a great story. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think so. I think of that, and it's gifts like that should make us aware that we've got so much to look forward to.
Now, when you received the idea of doing your show, was it something that you planned? Like, because I'm thinking gifts sometimes come, opportunities sometimes come, and it doesn't look like exactly what you put out there, but then you step out there and take it, and then the next step. What was that like for you with your show?
Well, actually, because I've been in broadcasting for so many years, usually I was a guest, but through the years I had shows occasionally. And what I wanted to do, and it had been a dream of mine, I remember standing outside of a hotel with a friend, and it was just when the internet had started, and I said, I would love to have an international show. I would love to be able to feature guests, from around the world. And my dear friend Norma, she was in the media industry, and she said, Donna, you're too far ahead. She said, internet is too expensive right now. There is no way, even for the terrestrial stations, to know how to work with this. So she said, you're going to get there. She said, it'll happen for you. But you need to know now is not the time. There's just not, those are just the realities.
There you go.
And it was in 2001. I had been doing broadcasting with a terrestrial station, and I found that I just couldn't keep up with certain things. And I was very successful with what I was doing. And I loved doing the programming occasionally that I did, but I really had this drive that I'd spoken about many years before with my friend Norma. I wanted to do it. And there was a little station here in Lakewood, Washington, and KLAY, and it was owned by Clay Huntington. In fact, he had the last independent radio station in the area. And I went on and I had talked to the manager, Bruce, and I said, Bruce, I'd really like a 5-day-a-week show. And he said, okay. He said, we got a space. We got a space at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I started that. And I think I had all of 2 listeners when I started. And it just grew from there. And then I ended up going to a terrestrial station in Seattle. And then I evolved into the internet with a group. And I was with them for a few years. And then all of a sudden, it was like, no, I can't do this anymore. It's just not economically working out.
Happens that way, doesn't it?
And this is the magic. The magic was a friend. Her name was Janie. Janie found out I was giving up my show. I said, I've gone through different scenarios. I just am not able to do this anymore.
Yes.
Financially, it's just not going to work. She said, don't you give up your show. Now, I was giving up my show. It was in March, and this was 6 years ago. And I thought, okay, that's the end of the road. The Donna Sebo show is not going to be anymore. So I went and notified the people that I had been doing the programming with. And I had a month's notice. And what occurred is that this individual said to me, Janie did, she said, let me get in touch with a friend of mine that's in media, and let's see what we can do.
Love those friends.
She was told by this gentleman, Joe, who is totally responsible for my having my program today, and he said, you tell her.
That. Could you try again?
Okay, so that's technology. I have my iPad here, and Suri picked up on Miss Donna talking to her. So excuse me, Suri, no one's talking
I'm
to
not
you.
sure I
We're having a
understand.
conversation with Suri. This is fine. So we're just, excuse us, we're going to turn the iPad off, Suri. And Suri's been getting really snippy with me lately. I even asked her, what time is it in Tokyo, Japan? She's like, I can't understand you. I'm like, okay. So
I
it's
love
kind of
it.
funny.
I
know,
love
like,
it. It's
like who's
great.
talking to us? What? Excuse me.
Hey,
great.
that's power at work, okay? When the computer wants to talk to you. Okay. Anyway, with Joe, he told Jamie, he said, whatever you do, you tell her not to give up her show. Now, I had already scheduled guests for the month of April,
Okay.
and I'm doing 5 shows a week.
See, 20-something guests,
That's right.
essentially. Yeah.
They're already scheduled. They're already in the queue. However, the first week of April, for some reason, I hadn't been able to fill it in. I end my show at the very last day of March. Joe comes over to where I have my studio. He said, I want you to buy this equipment, which was very inexpensive. I was shocked because I thought it was going to be
Yes, thousands and thousands. Yeah.
Just,
I got you.
I was stunned. He said, I will come to your house. I will set you up. I did not miss one of the guests that were already scheduled. And I started then, and then in 2014 is when I started. Here we are in 2020. In 2014, I also started a show I had wanted to do called Warriors for Peace.
Yes.
So now I have the 6 shows a week. I've been doing that for 6 years, and I just love it.
But that's a great example of don't give up on your vision. And it shows up in interesting ways and comes in steps.
Yep.
But as long as you're present with you, you will know when the opportunity's there. And when it knocks, you'll open the door and step through it. And you'll trust that it'll knock again and you'll step through it.
A million years, I could never have choreographed. I didn't know Joe.
Nope.
And it was just Janie saying, you can't give up your show. You must continue doing it. It's too important. So because of one person knowing another person, saying, okay, let's see what we can do, and someone that said, I know what you can do.
We coined the ripple effect. I'm sure other people have coined the ripple effect too on the way here, but ripple effect.
Yes, it's amazing. And this has happened so many times in my life. I look at it and I really see it as, magic, miracle, whatever you want to call it. But the odds of my having, number one, no guests booked that first week of April, started the 7th of April, and by golly, I've been going strong ever since. And that is the way life works many times.
That is the way life works a lot of the time.
And when we open ourselves up to the universe and say, all right, I may not be able to see everything, but I can't know everything. There's no way
You don't need to know the how. I mean, it's like you don't need to know the how necessarily, just to be willing.
Yes.
And then to allow.
Mm-hmm.
Allow the how. Oh, that's a good one. I'll write that down. That'll be my next little book of sayings. Allow the how.
And make it okay that you take the risk. See, too many times we will try to analyze things until fluff and dust.
Oh.
And I want to say, no.
Fluff and dust.
No, you don't want to go there.
Dust.
I've known people that are so logical. In fact, I was married to one that was so logical that, and my husband used to say this to me. He'd say, Donna, I can tell you how to get from A to Z. I can tell you this, and this. I could do it upside down, backwards, and I've got it down. He said, you go from A to Z and you don't know how the blue blazes you got there, and he said, you don't care. And it drives him nuts.
Yes.
Because it's not necessarily logical.
No. I say thinking is highly overrated.
Sometimes we think too much.
We think ourselves, stafu.
Mm-hmm.
Stop thinking for understanding.
And not only that, then we try to make everything absolutely perfect. And oh boy.
We have those tendencies, don't we? And mostly
yes.
the message I get from the universe is just relax, just chill, Renata.
Mm-hmm.
And allow other people
Yes.
to chill too.
I mean, even with what's her name, you know?
Even with Surrey. Sometimes I'll have a word with Surrey, but generally, Surrey, you're good. We don't want to put Alexa in our house, though. I can close my own garage door and I can have my own packages delivered.
Thank
but
you very
everything
much.
now is about a choice, is it not, Miss Donna?
It's always been that way.
It's always been that way, but now it's in your face and in your space and in your place. And if you don't choose certain things, that you no longer want in your life by indicating no by your actions, thought, words, and deeds, then you actually, by your action, thoughts, words, and deeds, you said yes. I'm just saying. You find that you're in situations where you don't appreciate the narrative that's being shared with you? Okay, choose another one. But choose you must. This is not a time of standing on the fence. No more Humpty Dumpty. Remember, he fell off and all the king's men could not put him back together again. Don't be Humpty Dumpty.
Right.
Don't be the Humpty Dumpty in your life.
Well, then that is something it took me a long time to learn.
I know, and that's part of the journey here on this
It
planet.
is part of the journey. And this is something when I meet sometimes younger people where they will say to me, oh, Donna, you're so lucky. And I go, wait a minute. You don't know the journey that's been traveled. We'll look at someone, maybe they're well known or they've got money or whatever, our image of, gee whiz, I wish I were like them
Our image,
is.
exactly.
And until we really know what that story is, what their story is, if we don't take the time to find out what it is they have to deal with every day. Someone rich and famous, you may find that their life is not so happy. They may have all kinds of challenges like addictions or, whatever. I mean, you just don't know. And I think so often we don't appreciate the blessings that we have.
Oh my goodness, Miss Donna, that's probably been, the biggest path for me in my 63 years on this planet this time. Is like, wow, the greatest gift really is you. Okay, start there. And then share that. There you go. You don't have to go too far. This is about a wake-up call, like honoring who you are. It is enough. It is enough. That's the message. You are enough, my friend. So am I. So are you. So is everybody. Start playing in the game. Yeah.
And know that you, in being yourself, I think that was one of my biggest challenges when I was growing up. They'd say, know yourself. And I go, what am I supposed to know, for heaven's sakes?
Give me the list.
Yes. What is it?
I'll check it out.
Yeah. And then you go about it and you read magazines, you go through all kinds of stuff, and you go, but I don't know, that just doesn't feel right for me. That's when you have to really pay attention and learning to be a critical thinker, questioning people. That's what life is all about. If you don't have comparisons in different topics, what do different experiences. You have to experience life. Sorry, I haven't found a shortcut yet.
Well, my acronym for love, living only valuable experiences. That's the idea, from varying different levels. Yeah. We may be really close to wrap-up time, and I want to make sure that we get a chance to share all the wonderful things that you are doing. Do you have any new classes? Any new events happening, Miss Donna, that we want to key in?
Not yet. Not until we're past the quarantine.
Okay. Are you still seeing clients one-on-one?
Oh, yes. Yes. I see clients. And for those that are listening, I am a psychic. I'm also a minister and a counselor, and I do a lot of interaction with people and public appearances, and I speak before groups. So until this period is over, then my whole schedule, we've had to cancel so many different
a lot of
events.
people.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. But also, I'm an award-winning author, and I have my shows. And you can check out information about me by going to delphiinternational.com. And that's DELPHI, just like the Oracle, delphiinternational.com. And then there's also a site with all of my publications, Mrs. Seebo's Classics.
Oh, yes. And you know what I'll do? I've got your wonderful card, and it's got all the information. I'm going to take the time to type that on the before I post the show.
Okay.
And then I'll post that, so that'll be on there as well. Okay.
Yes, and so people can go in and you can listen to any of my shows. There's the archives, and I just invite you to become a part of something that I think, because of the people that I interview, it enables you to become more empowered as an individual and makes you aware that this world, no matter what country, no matter where we are on this planet, we make a difference, and our stories count, and there are ways to improve life. And this period we're going through is a period of innovation. It's something that's going to give us a chance to maybe do something different. Who knows?
Yeah, and I'm not really wanting to know, because this is not about 3D and figuring it all out, is it? It's about being open. It's about being open to the magic that's available to us.
Oh,
and I
yes.
say it's magic. When I get out of my way, it was like, oh, okay. Rolls like that, does it? All right.
Absolutely fabulous.
I know. Well, feel like a time to say goodbye.
It is, and I want to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. This has been a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Yes.
We're two fun chicks, aren't we? We're going to wave goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, and you know what? Today is an interesting day. We've got that 5. It's an 11, which is an illumination.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's the 20th. 5/20/2020. There we go. Get those words out. Tongue twister.
Yay,
11/2 is illumination, so go out there and illuminate.
Absolutely. Bye.
Shine your light.